Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for my post-match reaction stream after Chelsea 3, Legia Warsaw 0. By the way, thank you for Losers Raid. Thank you, everybody that's still here from Losers Raid. Big ups, everybody. Chelsea have scored more than one goal. Chelsea have kept the clean sheet. I don't even know what to think. I mean, the first half was bloody dreadful, wasn't it? The first half was so boring again. I was already fearing and honestly, I was terrified it would be another 0-0. But we turned things around for the second half. We did turn things around for the second half. Everybody watching, get involved in the chat. Talk to me, guys. I want to get you guys involved. We don't do player ratings anymore. We now do takeaways. I like to have guests on, but it was unfortunately impossible to find guests tonight. So here I am. So I'm going to need you guys in the chat. Talk to me. Tell me what you think. Tell me individual moments, individual players, individual things you want us. Don't know what that voice crack was that you want me to talk about. That will be fantastic. So get in the chat. Talk to me, guys. Shout out Favole. That's what I like to call you because I am scared of your first name. So there you go. Chelsea 3, Legia Warsaw 0 in the first leg of the Conference League quarter-final. Obviously, away from home. By the way, before we talk about anything else, round of applause for the Legia Warsaw fans. The tifo at the beginning, the flares, the smoke, even if it was a bit annoying. Start with because we couldn't really see. And then singing all game long, big ups to them. Big ups to them, but big ups to us for winning because, yeah, we're basically, I mean, let's be honest, guys, we're basically already through to the semi-finals, and that is lovely. Like, we can rest players again next week in the second leg, so it's brilliant. Like, it's really brilliant in every, really in every kind of way it could be brilliant. This is brilliant right now. So I'm very, very happy. And honestly, I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming because of the atmosphere, because, it's not even our strongest team, and even our strongest team at the moment isn't particularly great at the best of times. Like, it also initially started quite aggressively, but then kind of started dropping off more and more and more as the game, after the first 10 minutes or so, they were just parking a bus for the whole rest of the game, if we're being totally honest. But in the first half, it worked. And then at some point, it stopped working. At some point, it stopped working, and we started carving them open. And what was the big change we made? We stopped playing Christopher Nkunku as the number 10. As a striker. And we just removed him from being the focal point, and all of a sudden we looked dangerous. Now, obviously, Madueke came on, and he was very direct, and he helped, obviously, scoring 2 goals as well. But Tyrique George moving up front, as soon as Noni Madueke came on for Cole Palmer, and then Christopher Nkunku dropping deeper, even though he did absolutely nothing there as well, other than miss a penalty. At least he wasn't a striker anymore, and he didn't ruin all of our attacking play. So that was nice. That was really, really nice. One verse ABC. Hello, Laurenz. Didn't watch the game. Watching to catch up with summary of the game. Surprised at Chelsea winning by 3-0. Hey, first of all, one verse ABC. Thank you very much for tuning in. I will be glad to provide. Yeah, honestly, like I say, I'm surprised as well. I honestly expected a tough game, either a narrow win or even a draw. And I was still very much expecting us to go through in the second leg next week. But honestly, I saw the possibility that we didn't win tonight, honestly. And to make it 3-0, it could have been more. Obviously, we missed a penalty. To be fair, the 3-0 was pretty much directly after the penalty. So had we scored the penalty, probably would have remained 3-0 regardless. But even still, I'm very, very pleased. And I'm so pleased. You can see him on the picture there for Tyrique George. Finally getting his first professional, his first senior goal for Chelsea in his career. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely brilliant. I'm so excited for him. I'm so happy for him. Obviously had that one big chance against FC Noah in the league phase of the Conference League back in autumn 2024. Missed that chance. Otherwise, obviously had a few, but never anything crazy, never anything stand out that way. You're like, oh, you missed the hit today. Since then, and now he finally got one. Reece James with a shot from outside the box. Good shot. Not the best shot in the world. Not too dissimilar from his goal against Copenhagen a few weeks ago. But still, the keeper did make a save. Should have not cleared it in the path of Tyrique George. But Tyrique George, unlike Christopher Nkunku, actually follows up and tries to get on a rebound. Does get the rebound. Taps it home for the 1-0. And that was what sent us flying, really. Obviously, Madueke then doubled it. And Madueke then tripled it. But there you go. That was basically the be-all and end-all. Jadon Sancho getting the assist, if I'm not mistaken, for both of Madueke's goals. So who would have thought that? Sancho getting a lot of stick recently. Didn't have the best first half, mind you. But he was doing better and doing more in the second half. So that is very good. Gabriel says it will be really difficult to sell Nkunku during the summer. Oh my God. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. And remember what happened in January, guys. We tried to sell him for 70 million. That is the price tag we put on his head. And instead, we loaned out João Felix, ruined his value in the process, by the way, because he's having an absolutely terrible time at AC Milan. And we kept a player that didn't want to be here, and we didn't want to be here. João Felix was actually trying and semi-useful, right? Nkunku is completely useless and not trying. There was actually one moment today where he did try after he missed a penalty. He was clearly fuming that he missed the penalty, so he was showing a bit of effort, a bit of physical strength in a duel against someone. So that was interesting. Interesting purely from the perspective that, we haven't seen it in about 12 months. So, that is that. That is that. One verse, ABC follows up saying, wonderful hearing Tyrique hit the net for his first Chelsea goal for the senior team. Absolutely. Now, one verse, please don't misunderstand me. Oh, I need to change this picture here. Please don't misunderstand me. You sound like you're AI, kind of. Are you AI? Or what? I don't know. I don't want to be rude here, but I don't know. The word just makes me think you might be AI and the name. But maybe you're just not. And to be honest, as at the moment, no one else is saying much. I'd rather one verse ABC AI talks to me in the chat than no one. Guys, talk to me. Share your thoughts. Talk to me what you want me to talk about. Talk to me what, if what you want me to, what you want us to discuss. Let's have chat. I mean, that's what we're here to do. One verse says, Maresca ruining Nkunku motivation for Chelsea. I am not AI, Laurenz. Oh, you feel offended. I'm sorry, bro. I didn't mean to offend you at all, my guy. I didn't mean to offend you at all. Yeah, ruining Nkunku motivation for Chelsea. I mean, it's true. But also, did he? I feel like Christopher Nkunku gets a bit of an easy ride sometimes, and we try to find excuses and blame other people. Where it's like, I mean, okay, he didn't get a lot of game time in the Premier League, in particular in the first half of the season, but he started the first Premier League game of the season, and he was the worst player on the pitch by an absolute distance. And then even in the Conference League, okay, I know he scored some goals, but a lot of them were penalties, a lot of them were tap-ins and easy finishes against very much lesser teams. He was even poor in the Conference League. He was poor when he was playing striker there. He was poor when he was playing number 10 there. He was poor when he was playing left mid. And I said this on our podcast, by the way. Check out mine and Pies' podcast called Chelsea Unfiltered with CFCPys. You all know CFCPys, so check it out. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. Link is down in the description to our latest episode that came out on Tuesday. Now, plug my podcast and don't remember what was my actual point that I wanted to plug. I don't even remember what on earth I was talking about. Oh, yeah. Nkunku. Like, he was the last few weeks and months, ever since Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson got injured, Christopher Nkunku near on played every game. He played more minutes than pretty much anybody. Now, most of the time, he, I guess, got subbed off, so I'm not saying total minutes, but in terms of starts, he got more starts than most, other than maybe Caicedo and Enzo and those lot, you know what I mean? And he never did anything. Like, he's useless left wing, he's useless as a striker, he's useless as a number 10. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Who's your man of the match? Ooh, it's an interesting one. Now, Noni Madueke came on and changed the game with 2 goals, but also just bringing a different kind of intensity and a different kind of quality onto the pitch. Like I said, taking Christopher Nkunku out of the number 9 role, that helped a lot. Now, I think in the first half, in my opinion, Josh Achimpong was our best player and our man of the match, starting at right centre-back, but still pushing up quite high and being involved in attacking plays to some extent as well. And then in the second half, once Cucurella came on for Reece James, Josh Achimpong actually was playing as a single DM. Talk about versatility. If only he would actually get some more minutes than just randomly starting games and then not to be seen on the face of the earth for another 3 months. So let's hope that doesn't happen again, because I thought he was absolutely brilliant. But I think you probably have to give Noni Madueke the man of the match. You could give it to Tyrique George because he was actually one of the ones that started. I didn't think he had a good first half, though, if I'm honest. So I'm not really sure if I can give it to him, and his goal was still a rebound tap-in, if we're being honest. So kind of between Madueke and, if I want to be like, not fully truthfully man of the match, but kind of who I want to give a special shout out to, is probably Josh Achimpong, if I'm being honest. Gabriel says, my problem with Nkunku is that he doesn't even try. KDH is not too good, but he puts effort. He puts in an effort. Now, I want to pick out KDH today. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. In my opinion, this was by far Kiernan Dewsbury Hall's best performance in a Chelsea shirt. And you guys know I've been extremely, extremely critical of Kiernan Dewsbury. I mean, I hate the fact that he's at my football club, if I'm being honest, because I think he's absolutely nowhere near good enough, right? Nowhere near. But, and I got to say it, I thought he was decent today. He could have scored a couple of goals. Now, sure, you can argue, especially the curler, could he have put it further in the corner and made it a goal? But it was still a good save by the keeper. He had another header that he put slightly wide, could have gone in. And in general, I saw some intensity. I saw some good moments of like pieces of skill. I saw some good passing. I saw some good movement. I liked how he was positioning himself. I was happy with Dewsbury today, and I'm not very often very happy with Dewsbury. I'll tell you that much. I will tell you that much. You agree? I'm glad you agree. Now, let's look. Oh, I accidentally did something completely different. Let's look at the lineup that we went for in today's game. Of course, we'll bring up the subs a little bit later. Now, this is essentially how we lined up. Obviously, this isn't, off the ball. It was obviously different. Gusto was the left back. KDH fell into a double pivot next to Reece James, and we kind of played a 4-2-3-1 off the ball, or 4-4-2 if you want. But on the ball, it was kind of like this, with Josh Achupong still doing a lot of pushing and Gusto sometimes being a bit more out here. And obviously these guys shifting across a bit. But you get the general gist of it. And to be honest, like I said, the first half was really dull. Like, we just didn't do anything. We will look at the stats in a minute. We will look at the first half stats and we will look at the second half stats. It will be pretty phenomenal how different it was. I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm pretty excited, or I'm pretty sure what I'm expecting is going to be quite drastic. But yeah, just to go through the entire lineup, of course, Jurgensen back in goal as our cup goalkeeper, even though he was the Premier League goalkeeper for like 2 weeks, a few weeks ago. Bit strange. Now, the lineup, obviously in the end we won 3-0, so everything worked out, so there's really nothing to complain about. But I did find it very odd that Levi Colwill now got rested 2 games in a row. He didn't start against Brentford and didn't start today. Now, okay, he started against Spurs last Thursday, but was Colwill even called up to the England international duty? If he was, he didn't play much, if at all. So he essentially had a lot of time off. Like, we had 2.5 weeks without a game before playing Spurs. Cucurella, I'm sure he was with Spain. I'm not sure how much he played, but even still, why did he get 2 games rest? I don't, obviously I know he came on in both games, but even still, why didn't he start for 2 games? And also Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto started against Spurs, didn't start against Brentford, and didn't start again tonight. How did Nkunku keep his place in the team? Like, you could have started Neto up front. I find this baffling, utterly baffling. Also, why did Cole Palmer play? Didn't exactly work out. Now, he wasn't completely diabolically bad, but he really wasn't good. Like, we got to say that. He really wasn't good. Jackson, I mean, okay, I'm not too upset with that one because he, started Spurs. You just came back from injury. You don't want to overdo it. And clearly we didn't need him either. So I get it. But Palmer still, I don't know. Very strange. Very strange. Of course, Gusto starting all the games at the moment, this time from left back, playing as a left number 10, left number 8. Jadon Sancho in the team. Again, I think the 3rd start in a row, like Spurs, Brentford, and this one after the international break, this time at right wing for the majority of the game, even though his assists all came from the left when he switched over later in the second half. So I guess make of that what you will. And Tyrique George, like I say, with his first goal, did start at left wing. Now, let's bring up these stats. What has Maresca done to our boy? Which boy are we talking about? Sorry, what was your name? Ricky. Sorry, my bad. Well, which boy? Me? You guys? Which boy? One of us says, early in the season when Nkunku, I assume, was getting few minutes in the Premier League, he was exerting himself and got us a few goals, but the moment Enzo refused to give him a start, even when Jack form dipped, he just ended his effort. Okay. But did he really provide some goals, or did he only score that goal against Bournemouth and that's it? Because that's what I remember. Did he score a single other Premier League goal? What I do remember is when we played Newcastle in the Cup, and we played them 3 days before at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. We beat them. He didn't start. Then he started 3 days later in the Cup. Still a big game, make it a performance. Get us through to the next round. Had he gotten us through to the next round, he would have played more big games because he would have played those Cup games. He doesn't care about the Conference League games, but it's partly down to him the fact that we didn't make it further in the FA Cup and that we didn't make it further in the Carabao Cup because he turned up that day in Newcastle and was absolutely diabolical. Oh, there you go. Cole Palmer. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I don't know. See, it's weird because Palmer, I don't think he was generally bad. Like, especially in midfield, he was turning players. He was working hard. He was winning the ball back. He was trying to help us control the play and make things a bit quicker. Sometimes people weren't really helping him out. He could have scored one, took a little too long to shoot, got it blocked. That in the end allowed a rebound shot from Dewsbury, forced a good save. So make of that what you will. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Famole says our defense has improved. I am surprised Maresca must have done something. It's a weird one, isn't it? But I said it on the podcast with Pys. I think it's just phases. It's just a phase because a few months ago, no matter what we did, we conceded a goal. But we also always scored one. mostly 2. That's why we won a lot of games, but also have a lot of 1-1 draws. And now recently, we are pretty certain to keep a clean sheet, and then it just depends, do we get a goal or not? Tonight, thankfully, we got 3 against Brentford, we got none against Spurs. It was only 1, but hey, that got us the 3 points. But we've got, I think, now 5 clean sheets in the last 6 games. I think that's 1 goal conceded in the last 6 games. That was against Arsenal. And I mean, when you consider the fact that Arsenal battered Real Madrid 3-0, it's not that bad, is it? It's not that bad. But let's look at these stats, guys. I mean, you can see them already. This is the overall stats. But now, I mean, overall, we had bloody 4.08 XG. That is absolutely wild, because look at the first half. 0.6. 0.6. So we had 3.4 XG only in the second half. Absolutely wild. 76%. By the way, guys, I'm still not fully over being ill, so I need to cough now. Give me a second. I'll just mute myself. I cannot guarantee and promise that I will be able to mute myself every time I need to cough, but I will try, guys. I will try. And now let me click onto the second half. I mean, sorry, first half, 10 shots, only 2 on target. Wasn't much to it. There was a header from Tosin, and honestly don't remember the other one. Basically nothing. Second half, 3.46 XG. Not that many more shots, but a lot more on target. 5 big chances. I mean, we was cranking shit up. I mean, we were really cranking shit up. A bit less possession. A bit more also XG for what's their face? Legia Warsaw. Most of it at the very end. Jurgensen making 1 good save after honestly Cucurella didn't look amazing. Trying to defend in the box. But there you go. The difference between the first half and the second half is absolutely ginormous. Yeah. But there you go. I mean, I'll take it in the grand scheme of things. I'll take it. Now, what made the big difference in the second half? Let's look at this, because we need to write down these subs. Obviously, we made the double substitution at halftime. Levi Colwill coming on for Tosin. I'm not sure if that had necessarily the most dramatic impact on how the second half went, to be honest, but maybe I didn't pay enough attention to Levi Colwill, and maybe it made a huge difference. And Noni Madueke for Cole Palmer. I'll write it up for you guys in a second. Cucurella then later on came on for Reece James. That switched a lot of things around. Matis Amugu made his debut for Chelsea Football Club, coming on for, who did he come on for, to be honest? Tyrique George, supposedly. That's an interesting sub, that one, isn't it? And then at the end, Muka coming on. Oh, he probably came on for George. So who was the other one that was subbed off at 75? Augusto. Yeah, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. How did Amugu do? 20. There's the golf, guys. There's the. See, I agree with this. I said this a while ago, even though there was a period where I thought Sancho was our best winger. At the moment, he isn't. Even though I thought he had a decent game today. A very good second half, a decent first half, and maybe an okay first half, maybe I should say. But Noni is the guy that is direct. Noni is the guy that has the real hunger for goals. I know he misses some chances, and he had like 2 goals in 12 games or something after his hat-trick against Wolves early in the season. But he's still much more direct and much more hungry for goals than any of our other wingers are. So, you know, there you go. Make of that what you will. But yeah, Matis Amugu, 20 out of 23 passes. I enjoy that. 1 a tackle, 1 a ground duel. Hey, you know, debut, first game. I'll take it. I'm happy for him. And obviously, Muka came on at the end. Now, let's switch back over to the lineup sheet, and let's actually look at how things changed with the subs that we did make. Now, Cole Palmer was replaced by Noni Madueke. So we'll put Noni Madueke there. Reece James later on was replaced by Marc Cucurella. Tosin was replaced by Colwill. George was replaced by Meuka. And who was the other one? I literally said it a minute ago, and now I forgot again. Gusto was replaced by Amugu. So there you go. Now, let me just move this around how we actually shaped up after those substitutions, to be honest. Not after, ignore these 2 substitutions. I'll actually take these 2 away just for the shape, because I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure if they changed the shape again. I was then focused on making the thumbnail and getting the stream ready, and obviously the game was done. So I wasn't necessarily paying attention to the formation, if there was any changes to it. But, so, now imagine always the subs. Cucurella was moved over here. Achampong moved into midfield. Colwill was somehow, I don't really know how, was playing right centre back. Badiashile was central centre back. Cucurella was kind of left centre back, I suppose. No, he wasn't. That's a lie. Who am I missing? Did we just play it like a 2 at the end? I'm confused now with myself. I'll tell you that much. Now, let's look at SofaScore, and let's look up how they think with the subs the average formation looked. Now, there's a few caveats with that, and we'll bring up the caveats in a minute. Frankfurt, by the way, already 1-0 up against Spurs, so unlucky Spurs, absolute clowns. Rapid Vienna, our potential semi-final opponent against Djurgården, is still 0-0. I will show you guys what I'm trying to show you guys in a moment. So here we are. I will share my screen to the other screen, essentially. There you can see SofaScore. There you can see the other results. So this is our average formation. Obviously, a lot of shifting around because players move positions and everything else. Let's do it with the substitutions. All right, so Kukurea was quite far out wide. It was relatively accurate. And then Amugu was the DM by the end, I guess. And then Achampong's average formation is obviously dodgy because he was first of all right centre back, kind of right back. Then he moved into midfield, and maybe he was part of a double pivot with Amugu towards the end. Difficult to fully justify and quantify. But let me paint it up best I can. Best I can, best to my understanding. Obviously, if you have a disagreement with it, please do not hesitate to correct me. But yeah, to me, it was then a Kukurea left. Oh yeah, I remember now. Guys. Took me a minute. Gusto went to right back, and essentially right centre back. So here we are. Now we have some logic back to our game. My bad, guys. Noni Madueke wasn't obviously the centre attacking mid. You'd think Sancho? No, I'm not sure if you even thought that, but there you go. Sancho up front? Nope. That's not it either. Sancho moved over to the left. Tyrique George played up front. And Nkunku went back to the number 10 position. Like I touched on earlier already. Now, Nkunku was still absolutely woeful. And he did absolutely nothing in the number 10 role either. Absolutely F-all. Don't mistake this. Absolutely F-all other than miss his penalty. That he won, to be fair. I think it was on a challenge on him. I'm not sure. We got a penalty. There was a question, did Nkunku get fouled, but was it in the box? And then did Dewsbury all get fouled? VAR checked both. They gave a penalty. I'm not sure for which piece of contact because Nkunku wasn't seen outside the box. But anyway, Sancho on the left, he all of a sudden became dangerous. Start obviously made two goals for Madueke. And Tyrique George, the striker, before we ever, and I mean ever, turn up with Christopher Nkunku playing as a striker again, we better start with Tyrique George. Now, we already have Pedro Neto, who we found out is a useful, different option to play up front because Nkunku is useless, right? We're not doing that. So at least if you're not doing it with Neto, do it with Tyrique George when Nicholas Jackson isn't available or isn't the guy chosen. Just do that. And again, guys, if you're watching, there's still over 60 of you here. Get involved. Talk to me in the chat. I know I set it to subscribers only, but subscribe, and then you will be able to talk in the chat. And also, make sure you hit that bloody like button for me, guys. Come on. There's over 60 of you watching. We've only got a few hits of the like button. So go down below and hit that like button for me right flipping now. Please do so. We've got 15. We can definitely get that up to 30, maybe even 40. But yeah, talk to me in the chat. I want your thoughts. I want your points that you find interesting and that you want us to discuss. There's a couple of things that I would like to talk about. And we'll get to that. We'll get to the lineup, to the other one, because I can't be bothered to shift it around permanently and constantly. Now, I spoke about it already, but I really felt that Dewsbury Hall had his best game for Chelsea tonight. Great passing accuracy, 94 passes. Now, you'd expect that. We made sure we didn't give the ball away in silly moments to give Legia Warsaw too many counter-attacking opportunities and get the atmosphere going and get them riled up and everything. We made sure that didn't happen, in particular in the first half. 2 out of 5 of his shots were on target. 2 out of 3 dribbles completed, which is good. 1 of 5 crosses. It's not great, but at least he completed 1. Tackles, not so great. Ground duels, though, fantastic. 5 out of 6. I felt he was strong in the tackle. I felt he was strong in the duel. Yeah. And shout out you. I've not given you a shout out ever before because I thought you were terrible every other time. But you turned up at the very, very end. Now, Reece James, quickly to touch on him, by the way. DM, people question, like, why is he not playing right back? Why is this? Why is that? I said this again in the podcast. I always reference it. So go check it out, download it, listen to the latest episode. There will be a new one next Tuesday, every single Tuesday. I don't mind him playing in midfield. I don't mind that. I think it saves him. I think it still allows him to be crucial to the game. I think it allows him to provide us with incredible technical ability is what I was trying to say. But also a physical body in midfield that we don't have so many of, especially when we want to give Moises Caicedo a rest. I don't like him so much at left back, even though he did a good job, but I think it limits him too much. In midfield, I don't mind. Now, let's answer this question by Ukrut, because this is an interesting one, and I have kind of thought this as well. Why did Maresca prioritize this game over Brentford? And when you look at the lineup from this game, can you really say he prioritized it? I'm really not sure. You're looking, okay, Reece James, but he also started against Brentford. And you're looking at Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer is kind of the only one that is a kind of a major player that didn't start against Brentford, that did start today. Because Sancho also started against Brentford. George didn't. Nkunku also did, but was useless in both. Gusto also did. Shubadi Ashil didn't, and Tosin didn't either. And Achimpong didn't either, and Jurgensen didn't either. But those are more the second string. So it's kind of weird because that's the thing, Ukrud, isn't it? He kind of didn't prioritize either game when you think about it. You know what I mean? Because, like, we just gave so many players 2 games rest. Like, I just find it very strange. Now, I'm sure I guess it's going to be a benefit in the run-in for the rest of the season now. A couple of players, having a bit of an extra rest. Like I say, Marco Correa, one of them, Caicedo, got a full day's rest today as well, which is fantastic. But especially for Cucurella, he came on in both games anyway. He still traveled out here. It's not like he had ever a day off. So how much did he really help? I'm really not sure. But yeah, it's kind of like he prioritized. I'm not really sure what he prioritized, honestly, Ukrud, because he felt like he didn't prioritize either Brentford or this game. So it's a bit strange. Gabriel says, Sancho is just not reliable. You can't build a team with him. He does well in one game and waits for another 15 games. I just feel that Maresca didn't treat the Brentford game as a must-win. No, I mean, I agree. I 100% agree with that. And I'm mad about that to this day. And the selection of today doesn't even justify. That's why I'm like, I can't even say he prioritized this game over the Brentford game, because then he would have played certain players that didn't play against Brentford today. But he didn't do that either. He just rested them for both. But as for Sancho, yeah, I just find it really interesting. Now, I understand what is the problem of some people. He does, a lot of flicky things and fancy things with the balls that don't really lead to anything, in particular in the first half today. But I'm like, well, he's one-on-one with a player. If he goes past that player, there's another opponent. If he goes past that player, there's another opponent. And no Chelsea player anywhere near. And all he can really do is lay it back to someone who can potentially shoot. So, but the risk is obviously losing the ball and getting counterattacked. And like I touched on earlier, I think it was a purposeful, kind of approach to the game to try to avoid losing possession as much as humanly possible, to not allow them to get into the game, to, start getting into it, to getting the crowd going and everything else. So, but I don't feel the same dislike and criticism for Jadon Sancho that a lot of other people feel over the last few weeks. Honestly, he works hard tracking back, much harder than most of our other wingers, if I'm being honest. Honestly, more than any of our other wingers. In every sense of the word, he tries. Does it always work? No, it really doesn't. He doesn't beat his man very often. He's very hesitant, likes when he plays on the left, cuts on his right all the time. Today was a bit better, but just less the opponent. I don't really know. Now, I understand that I'm seemingly in the minority in this opinion on Jadon Sancho, but I think a lot of the criticism, or some of the criticism at least, recently has been a bit harsh. But what I do see is Gabriel saying he's just not reliable. And that maybe is fair, but it depends on what you're trying to rely on him for. Because he's not going to be like a Mo Salah, being your match winner, being your game changer. He's not going to be a Noni Madueke in that sense either. He's going to be the guy that's going to be technically sound, that's going to retain possession, that's when he can, tries to look for an opportunity to either set someone up or go for a shot, but only when it's right there, when it's there for him. When it's a risk, when there's a chance he gives the ball away, that's not him. That's not him. And I genuinely don't think that's what I genuinely think Maresca asks this of him. That when you can get past someone, do it. But if you can't, keep possession rather than trying something that loses us the ball. And, how often in particular last season did we run into goals for players doing exactly that? Trying things that weren't on, lose the ball, we run into counterattacks and we lose the game. And maybe this is partly what happened, what made us keep more clean sheets, because we stopped doing silly things. Obviously, it has hampered our attacking play, so it's not exactly nice, but I get it. Gabriel continues. He's an attacking player. What does he bring to the table? Controlling the ball? How does he affect the game? Well, he got 2 assists today, so for one, he did that. But I think Sancho will find an opening if one's there. I think sometimes people just ignore the fact that you're not paying it. Like, I'm not saying you, Gabriel, in specific. I think you've elaborated yourself. You've explained where your criticism and your question marks for him come from, which is absolutely fair enough. I'm more talking about sort of general criticism for him. Feels like, they want him to be Hazard. They want him to beat his man every single time, create a chance every single time, or score a goal every single time. That's never going to be him, number one. But also, the way we play, the way most of our opponents play, that's just not going to happen. Now, obviously, Sancho's nowhere near as good as Eden Hazard is, and I don't even know why I'm talking about Eden Hazard, but I'm just saying, I feel like the expectations are a bit high sometimes. But then again, it's also understandable because, you see other teams, like I say, like Liverpool, like Mo Salah, where he's the main guy with the goals, the main guy with the assists, the main guy with a lot of things. But at Chelsea, our wingers stay wide. Even though Madueke scored 2 today, our wingers, yeah, sure, sometimes they're supposed to get the ball at the far post. But when Sancho is in the team, he is not the guy to arrive at the far post. He is the guy to put the ball into the far post, if anything. Maresca doesn't ask this from him. I know maybe I'm excusing him a bit too much now, but I just feel like it's a bit of a collective issue. When the whole team was playing well, Sancho was playing well. Now that the whole team is struggling, Sancho is often struggling. Now, sure, he's a player with high technical ability, so maybe people expect more individual moments of magic from him because he clearly has the ability to do so. We all know it from his Dortmund days, and even some other moments in I'm sure Man United, and even for us, like a couple of moments, right, where he just changes the game with one move or one little dribble, one little pass. But then again, to an extent, he did today. Now, of course, it was 1-0 already, but that ball to Madueke for the 2-0, the ball to Madueke for the 3-0, they were both great assists. But, Ricky says that Sancho is good everywhere besides goals and assists. Now, I would like him to take his man on a few more times. But like I say, I think it's also an issue of how we play. That we played so slowly that we allow the opposition to sit in their perfectly shaped defensive block every single time. And that when that happens, no matter who the winger is, even people like Hazard, Neymar, like the very best, I'm not saying they would just be as bad as Sancho or whatever, but they would also struggle. Otherwise we would have never had games where we failed to score when we had Hazard. They wouldn't have happened. Remember losing at home to Sunderland, losing our home record on the Mourinho? This happens. This happens. And again, I don't want to compare him to Hazard, but I'm saying someone as good as Hazard can't always do it. So don't expect someone who's not as good as Hazard to always do it, if that makes sense. Gabriel, again, continues. I see your points, but I just look at him and feel that he's more talented than he allows himself to do. Wow. Now, that is an interesting statement. That is an interesting statement. And I don't even disagree with you, bro. I actually do agree that he is more talented than he allows himself to be and to do. Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I think this is why, and it leads nicely onto Ricky's question, would you keep Sancho and pay the 5 million fine? I would keep him because I think one of those reasons for what Gabriel said, that he is more talented than he almost allows himself to be, is that his career and his life has been in limbo for 2.5 years, 3 years. Like, remember when he then was left out of the Manchester United squad and sent to the Netherlands to do some sort of, I don't know, did he go to a clinic, a mental health clinic? I have no idea what he did. I have no idea if he had depression or just struggling with other mental health issues. I don't know. But he, went away, got himself taken out of the squad. Then he came back, had a bust-up with the manager, stood his ground, didn't apologize, didn't then play, goes on loan to Dortmund, does all right, is in the team, makes it to a Champions League bloody final, but doesn't have many goals, doesn't have many assists. Some moments, but nothing amazing. Then he comes to Chelsea, and now, just over 6 months of being here, there's all this talk about, Chelsea might send him back. It's only a £5 million fine fine, I guess. If we don't want to use the obligation, which is like, you sold the guy an obligation, and now you're telling him he might have to go back to Man United. He's probably having nightmares of having to go back to Man United. Do you know what I mean? So, it's not ideal, is it? It's not ideal. I think we can get a lot more out of Jadon Sancho if we put trust into Jadon Sancho and buy him and put our faith in him. And I think he will repay that to as best as he can. I genuinely believe that. And I think now, if the option to buy him was like 30, 40, 50 million, of course, then you would start to doubt it. Anything over 30, I would question it, and I would probably say no. But for £25 million, I just think that's such a good deal. Like, I've said this to a few players. There's not many players that are the level of Jadon Sancho, and also, unlike most of our players and most of our signings, aren't 12 or 18 or just turned 19 but never played a professional game of football in their life, like just had a Casadei when we signed him. He's experienced a little bit. I'm not saying he's done like super well. Dortmund always failing to win everything, but he's still experienced big games, big atmospheres. Even was saying this to my girlfriend watching the game today. Legia Warsaw, obviously, with the crazy atmosphere, and there was a few question marks or criticisms of Maresca saying before the game, we should feel lucky to play in a game like this. And I think people took it a little bit in the wrong way. I think it was more onto the atmosphere and how much we can learn from such a hostile atmosphere. And the only one that would have had much experience of facing such a thing is Jadon Sancho, really. I'm sure I'm forgetting one or two players that might have done so. But Jadon Sancho from his time at Dortmund, but also having, the longest career out of most of the players. I mean, Nkunku, I suppose, as well. Especially playing for Leipzig, they will face a hostile atmosphere pretty much everywhere they go, to be fair. I forgot about him, but Nkunku's just so useless. It's easy to forget about him, isn't it? But yeah, for me, I think we should keep Jadon Sancho. And even if it doesn't fully work out, I think there's absolutely no problem to sell him for 30, 35 million next year. Unlike with Christopher Nkunku, who we will either have to loan out or accept to sell for a dramatic loss, I think with Jadon Sancho, we're in a position, if we're buying for £25 million, that we're almost guaranteed to not lose money. And if you get a decent player and you can make profit on him, why wouldn't we do it? Do you know what I mean? But that's just my logic. That's just my logic. Now, there was a few other things I wanted to talk about, and one of them is Josh Achapong. Now, first of all, I want to highlight his versatility, the fact that he moved into centre mid in the second half, the fact that he was, while playing right centre back, was also involved in attacking play. The way he glides past people, it's absolutely gorgeous. He is such a good footballer, almost a little bit wasted if you play him centre back. That's why, like, he's one of those players that learned to be a defender because of his physical attributes, as a kid, but is so good. And obviously, they always thought, okay, he's just the best, but we're playing at a lower level here, like in terms of age group. But now he's with the seniors, and he's still better than most of the others on the ball, and he's still playing centre back, but he's also very strong. So that is amazing. Spurs have equalised, but Lyon are 1-0 up against Manchester United. That is absolutely wild. That is wild and funny. Now, obviously, it's a first leg, so I'm not going to read too much into it and cry too much about it, but even still. But yeah, Josh Achapong, shout out you. I'm very happy. I'm very impressed. I love you a lot. And I'm very happy with, academy players getting chances. Like I said earlier, I think he's been absolutely done dirty, forced into signing this contract, and starts 2 games and then never sees the light of day again. Starts again, is great again, and will probably never see the light of day again for the rest of the season. But if he doesn't start this second leg, I mean, what on earth? With up 3-0. When else do you play an 18-year-old? Ricky says, I know Champions League is the benchmark, but do you truly think this team and manager are ready for that level? Do you think Europa would be a better stepping stone for development? Now, this is a fascinating question to talk about, Ricky. Thank you very much. Now, there's various angles to this. As a football club, the football club that we are, the money that we have spent, the fact that we don't have a shirt sponsor, and the reason we don't have a shirt sponsor is because we keep trying to wait to qualify for the Champions League to get a bigger, better shirt sponsor deal. And the fact that some of the players we have, like Cole Palmer, maybe like Enzo Fernandez, maybe even Caicedo, but I doubt it a little bit. I think so less with him. They will start questioning things if we don't make it to the Champions League again. But there is an absolute case to be made for exactly what you're saying, Ricky. There really is. Because, like you say, is this squad ready now? What you're seeing on screen is mostly our second string team, sure. But you've still got Cole Palmer in there. You've got Reece James in there. Excuse me. You've got Sancho in there. Make of that what you will. But essentially 2 at a push, 3 team players of our starting 11. Now, what do you think this very team would do in the Champions League? Now, I'm sure we would add a few players in the summer. But even our very strongest team isn't that great. Like, we've got a great number 10, but no backup. We've got 2 fantastic centre mids, but no backup. Well, on loan in Andre Santos and to an extent Leslie Ugochukwu. And obviously Lavia when fit, but he's never fit, so basically doesn't count. But still, Andre Santos. So centre mid recovered. Centre back, lacking. Goalkeeper, lacking. Right back, good, but one's very often injured. The other one is constantly not playing right back and has had a terrible season. And left back, yeah, we have one of the best in the world, but no backup. So it's like, I see your point 100%, and maybe there is a case to be made that the squad, that the development would be better to be in Europa League. And I mean, don't fully rule it out. We might end up finishing 6th in the Premier League, or we might end up finishing lower but winning the Conference League and therefore qualify for the Europa League. So, yeah, there is definitely a case to be made. I think if we do qualify for the Champions League, I don't think it's necessary. It's a bad thing, It's more money. I think we're good enough to get out of the league phase of the Champions League personally, because there are a lot of teams that are a little bit less. And now, of course, you have to go by the draw makes a big difference. Do you, for example, play, I don't know, like Dortmund away, much more difficult than playing Dortmund at home. That's always my example. Even someone like Legia Warsaw, I know we won 3-0 today, but it will be much easier to play them at home than it was to play them away. Or Galatasaray, teams like that, Fenerbahce, Besiktas, if they're in the Champions League, teams like that, you know what I mean? Olympiacos, they always make it a bit more difficult. Also Real Madrid, Real Madrid away is not the same as playing Real Madrid at home. It just is like that. That goes for a lot of teams. So a little bit of luck has to be involved, but I'm confident that we can make it through the league phase. And honestly, I'm not really expecting much more than that next season. But you absolutely have a point. You absolutely have a point. It's just, and I keep saying this very sentence, it blows my mind how you can spend as much money as we have and have as average of a squad as we do. Blows my mind how that's even possible. It genuinely blows my mind. Regularly, that does blow my mind. But there you go. Now, me personally, I don't really have that many more individual talking points that I would like to touch on myself particularly. It's because the thing is, it's so difficult to judge these kind of oppositions, right? Now, I said on the weekend, Brentford is a much better opponent than Legia Warsaw. And I stand by that. In terms of quality, they're a much better opposition. Now, in terms of place to go, it's probably more difficult atmosphere-wise, and, being in Europe and Thursday night and everything makes it more difficult to play Legia Warsaw, but purely from a team's ability perspective. They're not as good as Brentford. Are they as good as Ipswich? That's difficult. Maybe technically, but the intensity, the willingness, the physical prowess of Premier League teams, even the ones that get relegated, is not comparable to anything we see in the Conference League. So, but when I look at these stats, like the second half today was good, and it was maybe what happened in the second half today was actually, and I'm not saying this is replicatable to other games now, and that Maresca can say, do what we did against Legia Warsaw. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm more so getting at the fact that I think it could maybe be a little bit of a click for the team that, like, there was a low block and we could break them down, and we created in total, supposedly 4.08 XG in total, 3.4 only in the second half. That is good. Now, again, this won't apply to every other opponent, but it's still, I think this team needs positive experiences. And I think this is what people forget. And this is why I'm so adamant that we need stability, that we need to keep players, that we need to keep Jackson as a first choice striker, by a striker, a second choice striker, or a competition striker for Jackson. But Jackson, in principle, should remain the number one unless the other guy just outperforms him. And I feel that in a lot of positions, we've decided to go for young players. We now need to see what those young players turn into and not replace them before they've had time to really become what they could become purely based on their potential. So, I mean, that's my take. I understand that everyone will have a different take on these types of things. But my perspective is just that we need to, be together and let this team experience. Now, I still wouldn't want to build the squad the way the owners do, but they have. And now we've spent so much money that we can't right now afford to go back to the way we used to build a squad under Roman Abramovich. We can't do that anymore now. There's no way. And why? Because, like I said, we've spent so much money, and with everything getting more expensive, football is getting more expensive. If we wanted to sign 4 to 5 top-level players this summer that are above the age of 25, which we obviously don't want to do, but if we did want to do that, each of them would cost 60 million or more, some of them up to 100 million. And we've spent nearly 2 billion already. So how on earth are we supposed to spend another 300, 400 million this summer? There's no way that happens. There's no way that's possible. So because of that, in my opinion, we now have to make these players, this team grow. And, positive experiences like beating a low block comfortably, as much as it was a lesser opponent in Europe, is still a positive experience that we don't experience very often. We didn't experience that very often under Poch last season. We didn't experience it very often under Maresca this season. So I think it can be a positive experience. The fact that we managed to get past Legia Warsaw in the end, this comfortably, if you will. I mean, it is nice. And going into the second leg now, 3-0 up, comfortable, being able to rest players is nice. It's good, man. It's good. I'm really happy about this. Now, let's see if I find any interesting quotes from after the game, from any of the players, from Maresca, anything else. Let me see. Noni Madueke is now on 10 goals in all competitions, 7 in the league, 3 in cup competitions, which is obviously nice. We have now also scored 100 goals in all competitions under Enzo Maresca. And here I can see a few quotes. Yeah, finally, this is what I'm liking to see. My God, this is what I want to see. This is what I love. Look at this, the very bottom tweet, guys. I will scroll down to it so you can see it in full. Josh was the one who I fell in love with tonight. I'll give that a like. I'll give it a retweet. Yes, Maresca fell in love with him, finally. I don't understand how he hasn't a long time ago, but there you go. Maresca and Achipong, he showed he can move positions, fullback and midfielder. He's mature and composed and open to learning. Fantastic. We have to learn to play against teams that sit back. For sure, you can be quick on the ball, take more risks, shoot more, lol the first goal. Why did he say lol the first goal? I assume Pys must have misquoted this. Look at the first goal. Maybe that's what he meant to say. I don't know. Like the first goal. There you go. Yeah, but I am very, very happy about this. And also this, you know. I love that he can play multiple positions, but at the same time, I'm like, he's already good enough in that one position that you should have played him more the whole time, and it would have probably made us a better team already. And he would already be a better player if you gave him more opportunities. But here we are. I suppose better late than never. Now, I'm still asking you guys, if there's more things that you would like us to discuss, would like me to talk about, would like me to look at, please bring it up. You know, you can send links if you want to in the chat, or tell me to look at certain things on Twitter or whatever. Otherwise, I'm slowly but surely going to wrap this one up because I don't have much more else to say. Me, myself, and I. Now, I guess something we can maybe touch on is the news. What was the news again? This is how it sometimes goes, guys. I sit here and I'm like, you know, reading the chat at the same time, and then I'm talking, and then I'm seeing myself in the camera, and then I had a thought, and then I try to kind of, you know, transition what I'm talking about into that topic, and then by the time I get to it, I kind of forget about it. Do you think we'll make top 4? Now, this is a slightly different conversation, but we will talk about it. Is there now any hope or chance that I will remember the point that I was trying to make earlier? Absolutely not, but it is what it is. Let's look at the Premier League table. I'll bring it up for you right now because that is bloody interesting. We are obviously still 4th, despite our 0-0 draw against Brentford, because Manchester City got held to a 0-0 draw as well against Manchester United. They are level on points with us. Oh, sorry, they didn't overtake us, I should say. You can see, obviously, Liverpool clear, even though they're starting to drop some more points now. They're 11 points clear. They're done, right? Arsenal drop points, could have been caught, but we didn't because we bottled it. Nottingham Forest lost, could have been caught. We only caught by 1, but now you see how tight it is. 53 points, ourselves in 4th, 53 points. Newcastle in 5th, 52 points, just 1 point behind. Man City, 51 points, another point behind, just 2 points behind us. Aston Villa in 7th. Now, then there's a little drop of 3 points, so I guess it's now becoming a fight between 4th and 7th. Maybe we can still drag Forest into this, so maybe between 3rd and 7th, which still would give 3 of the teams the possibility to end up playing in the Champions League, 3 of the 5 fighting for it, which is still good odds. But, you know, it's difficult. It is difficult. Now, your question was, do we make top 4? I don't think we will make top 4, but I think we'll make top 5. By the way, obviously, since yesterday, with Arsenal's, or Tuesday it was, Arsenal's win over Real Madrid being confirmed, even before tonight, obviously, when our win would have sealed it otherwise. It's been guaranteed, as you can see here, with the 5 green slots, that it's now guaranteed and confirmed that the Premier League will have 5 guaranteed Champions League slots for next season. So that is good. Obviously, we would have expected it to have it last season already. We didn't. Now we do. Let's make sure we take advantage of it. Now, obviously, if we come 4th anyway, or 3rd, great. But let's make sure we get in that top 5 at least. I think we can. I think we will. But our run is so difficult. We might also not. Let's be honest. We might also not. That's all I can say. That's all. That's the only way I can say it. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think with that being said, I think I'm about to wrap this one up. I'm still not 100% sure who I would vote for my man of the match. It's still between Achipong and probably Madueke for me. But there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're still here, appreciate you. Hit that like button. That would be fantastic. Subscribe if you haven't done that yet either. That would be lovely. But yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, Gabriel, do you not think so? Do you not think we'll make top 4? Do you think there's absolutely no hope we'll make top 4? Well, or top 5, let's call it. Can the camera focus on me, please? Hello. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just going to wait for what you've got to say on that, Gabriel, because I'm intrigued. Ricky, of course, if you're still here, get involved as well. Do you think we'll make top 5? Everybody watching, of course, subscribe, get involved in talking to me in the chat, whether you're live on Google. You're live on Google. What am I talking about? Absolutely wild. Top 5, but I am afraid still. Yeah, I mean, I am afraid too. Don't get me wrong. I am afraid too. And I wish if it wasn't for City being absolute bottle jobs, if it wasn't for City, we'd be in the Europa League right now. Now, you could argue that the Europa League, we might not win. But if we would win the Europa League, at least if we'd be in the Europa League, we'd have a second avenue into the Champions League. That would be nice, because obviously if we win the Conference League, we only qualify for Europa League, as far as I know anyway. Ricky says, there's a chance for sure, but we have a lot of work cut out. Yeah, we do. And it's just that run that we had, from December 22nd until a few weeks ago. I mean, our run is still not amazing, let's be honest. We haven't won an away game since December 7th or 8th, whatever it was. But that run between late September and early Feb, maybe, that's why we lost too many games. Like, we didn't win a game, I think, in 9, or one game in 9. As you can tell, my nose is completely clogged up, and so my voice is a bit weird. My apologies. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up in a second. But yeah, what was I trying to say again? Yeah, that run of form is what puts us into this scenario, into this difficult position that we are in. But yeah, we can only hope for the best. We go again on Sunday. I'm not 1,000% sure what I'm going to do on Sunday because, people know I'm big into my F1, and the F1 race starts exactly 2 hours after the Chelsea game starts. So pretty much exactly when my stream would start. So I don't really know what I'm going to do about that yet. We'll figure it out. Maybe I'll stream after the game, after the race. Maybe I'll stream then and try not to get spoiled by any of you. We'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said already, hit the like button one more time before you leave if you haven't done that yet. Subscribe if you haven't done that yet either. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. I'm happy today. I'm a happy boy because we scored 3 goals. We kept the clean sheet. I know it's only like Conference League and it's a much lesser opponent than ourselves. But with all the 0-0s and all the 1-0s, it's been frustrating. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and upwards, and I will see you next time.